I don't think you're freaked out enough about what's going to happen to our privacy, as you should be. It's recently been leaked out that the UK government has requested Apple and other big tech companies to create a backdoor to our encrypted data so they can spy on anyone in the world. So it doesn't concern just the British citizens. If you live in the US, your data here is at stake just as much as mine. And here are 5 reasons for why you should be worried about what's about to happen. And I'm really sorry to leave the last one being the most important, but we need to build up to that so you understand the full implications of what's being asked of Apple and Google and others. As I've mentioned, this doesn't concern only UK citizens. It is a worldwide issue and in many different ways. So first of all, obviously, UK government having access to data of American citizens is just absolutely mind-blowing, or European, or Russian, or Chinese. Which is a funny thing, China didn't think of it first, which is very surprising. And it's not just Apple, it's Microsoft, it's Meta, it's Google. And the reason we don't know about it is because it is a criminal offense. Let me reiterate this. Criminal offense for a company to let their users know that the government made such a request to access their data. So basically, they want the tech companies to pretend that our data is encrypted. And they're not allowed to let us know. Obviously, this leak happened, and when Washington Post reached out to all the big tech companies, they all went, well, no comment. Well, no shit. You're committing a criminal offense if you say that, yes, we've been served that notice. When you think of this level of shadiness, it's absolutely mind-blowing. What it also does, it sets precedents for the rest of the world. So if UK can do this, so can we. And I wouldn't be surprised if that would be China or Russia that asked Apple of this, or they asked them to withdraw their encrypted services from their countries. But UK seems to be leading the way here. I had this casual chat with my mate about this, and he said, well, what they're going to find out? We've got nothing to hide. And that might be, well, true. But there was a guy who said, show me a man and I'll show you the crime. Beria used to serve as a deputy premier to Stalin after World War II, and his modus operandi was finding a person and then fabricating or finding a crime that fits. So basically, presume the man guilty and then fill in the blanks later, which is slightly different to what we do in the West, right? At least we used to. And that sits next to an infamous Snoopers Act, which means that UK can basically, without a warrant, access the data on your computers, on your cloud. The problem is, obviously, if it's encrypted, they can't do that easily. Now, let's combine these two elements together, shall we? You've got Snoopers Act that allows them to monitor all your activities and access all your data without the warrant, and unfiltered access to all your so-called encrypted data. So that includes every single email you ever sent, every single note you've taken, every single photo you've got in your album online, every single message you send to your wife. I don't know about you, but I don't want some creep to be looking at my kids' photos. And they will have full access to this. And to be fair, in the past, that would feel like a conspiracy theory, right? The problem here is that it's no longer the case. It's an official request. Now, the argument here is that it is just about the bad guys. Let's go back to the show me the man, I'll show you the crime. But also the fact that how many times have we read, even in the last few weeks, about the abuse of power by the police, by the governments? UK government, for example, monitoring activities of journalists and activists, or the police literally checking up the number plate of a girl they've met in a bar to stalk her later. And these people will have access to our data as well. It's never about the bad guys only. Now, think about it. Every single message you ever sent, right? Now, let's combine these full access powers with the AI that's growing at insane pace. And it's a great thing on one hand and pretty terrifying on the other. But if you can scrub all that data, put it in the massive database, it goes beyond the invasion of privacy. Think of it as someone coming into your house, opening all your letters, flipping through all your family albums, reading all your diaries. The other side of the argument might say that, well, we need to protect ourselves. The criminals are getting more tech savvy. We need to fight back. Yeah, I agree. We have to fight back. But giving up all your freedoms and all your privacy probably isn't the way. There is another problem with that. Even though you might agree with the current government, governments change, policies change. We might have a far right government next or super far left. Whereas most people are in the center. We just want to live our lives. Live our lives in peace. Enjoy whatever life we've got outside work, because sadly that became a cult lately, working till you die. We all know that most of us will never see retirement as it is. And it feels that if someone's breathing down your neck all the time, isn't the best way to live. It feels like something Stalin, Hitler, Mussolini could only have dreamt of. Now, this is not only about you and me. It's about every single company you ever interacted with. Remember that whole GDPR thing in the European Union where we need to protect our clients' data as companies? Well, yeah, we do. And we went through loads of loops and hoops. We've paid bucket loads of cash to comply with those GDPR regulations. Now, requests like the one made by the UK government goes completely against the European Court of Human Rights that already spoken about the Snoopers Charter, but obviously we had a Brexit, so we kind of decided that we're going to govern ourselves. This is us governing ourselves. We are going into a very fascist kind of a movement lately, which is pretty terrifying. I know that this particular channel of mine is supposed to be about tech, but this is tech. This is our everyday technology that was supposed to be our tech and our data that's being given away. And it's not just about crime fighting. It's the political surveillance of the journalists, of the activists. And I know, like, the guys from Just Stop Oil are pissing all of us off. But there are movements that are whistleblowing on scandals that we wouldn't know about otherwise. Remember Snowden? But this is also opening access to critical industries, such as healthcare, banking, the defense. And let's be honest here, there is no such thing as single-use backdoor. As soon as it's created, it will get exploited. And I don't know why UK government can't learn from other people's mistakes. We've seen this in the States last year, when they discovered that their backdoor to their telecoms got hacked by China. Now, they have no idea when it happened and how long were Chinese accessing every single text message ever sent in the UK. So the government rolled back on the surveillance bollocks and asked every single person to start using end-to-end encrypted messaging services, such as Signal. And it was FBI, CIA, and the NSA urging people and businesses to move on to end-to-end encryption. That was endorsed by Canada, New Zealand, Australia, European Union, pretty much every single sane government around the world, apart from Britain. I don't know what needs to happen for people to start protesting on the streets. We seem to be very eager to go out when COVID happened, or when BLM movement happened in the States, and we decided to trash our streets, burn the cars, and destroy businesses, because that seemed like a worthy cause. Seems like this invasion of privacy on unprecedented scale isn't enough. Like, people went, I can't be bothered anymore. It doesn't really matter. And yes, Apple, Google, and everyone else can appeal that decision. But during that appeal, they still need to comply with the UK's request to have that access. So there's two ways this is gonna go. Either we'll lose all the encrypted services in the UK, and not just Apple. That includes Google, Signal, whatever you've used so far to keep your data safe from hackers. It's no longer going to be safe, because government is just one issue. Bad guys are the other. As soon as they have access to all our records, this is not just telecoms, this means everything. Your password managers, your notes, your photos, your everything that you have kept private in your life is just going to get exposed. What I'm trying to say is that I never thought that this book is going to become a manual and not a warning for governments, a manual how to build a surveillance system. So guys, welcome to 1984, the Ministry of Truth, the thought crimes, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be plenty of rooms 101s to correct your thinking. Honestly, I think we're in for a very interesting ride.